I am so excited right now because you're about to see this conversation that I had with my friend Dave. Dave's a double stacker. And when we first met, he was making about $50,000 a year in his web design business. And he basically described it like this.
I couldn't have kept going the way I was going. It was just a grind. I was
Hmm.
constantly trying to find new clients.
And today, he has added $125,000 of recurring revenue to his business in less than a year. So his annual revenue is now up to over $175,000 per year. And that is awesome. I'm super excited about that. But that's not even the best part. The best part is he is on the cusp of a massive breakthrough that sounds like this.
I'm looking at a potential $50 to $80,000 a month. Yeah, which is if you had told me before DoubleStack that there was any chance that I would ever come close to making that, maybe in a year, not in a month. So things have changed. And the only reason this happened was because I was in DoubleStack and I came up with a solution first.
So how does all of that work? So here's the serious part. In just a minute, like towards the end of this video, I'm going to link you to a little 15-minute workshop that summarizes this whole thing. It's called the Authority Framework, which is the framework that Dave and I use to create this transformation in his business. If you check that out, at the bottom of that page, you'll also see a little email opt-in, and you can get the first module of DoubleStack for free. It's called Niche Mastery, which will help you figure out, you'll see here in just a second that Dave is niched down on home service businesses, and you can figure out what the best niche is for you. If you get the Niche Mastery course, it'll get emailed to you totally for free. But listen to this conversation with Dave, and you can see how this is working out for him. Let's just jump right into it. Here it is.
Yeah, before DoubleStack, I can describe my situation with one word: struggling.
Ooh.
I was struggling to find clients. I was struggling to sign them on. And once I got them signed on, I got them to stay, but I didn't feel like I was really moving the needle for their business because I had focused solely
Mm.
on web design and selling them a website. And that worked 15, 20 years ago. It doesn't work today.
Mm.
Um, because clients can build a website themselves for, on Squarespace or Wix, or even Card for $19 a year. So I had to revamp my strategy, and I started to learn other skills like email marketing and lead generation and ads. But as we talked about on our first call together, before I had even joined DoubleStack, you said you have all the components right. You just are,
Mm.
they're in the wrong order.
Mm.
And because what I was doing was I was selling the website and then I was trying to upsell them on all these additional add-ons. And very few clients took me up on it because number one, I didn't find out what the main issue was, what their goals really were. It was almost like a la carte. They went to a buffet and they chose which items on the buffet that they wanted. And most of them did not want to spend that extra money. So I just struggled. I struggled to get clients, and then I happened to find I don't know I was searching for something on YouTube, and I came across one of your videos, and I clicked in there, and after about a minute, I realized Lee must have been like, you recorded this for me. Like it was like you were talking directly to me, and I couldn't believe it. And you understood exactly the issues I was having and exactly what I was doing wrong, and you had solutions. And I thought, this is what I need. It was like a saving grace because I couldn't have kept going the way I was going. It was just a grind. I was
Mm.
constantly trying to find new clients. And the interesting thing was I had found out, oh, well, to get recurring revenue for a web designer, you can offer managed hosting. And I thought, okay, great. So I found that out and I started doing that. And the range was like between $50 and $100. And I thought to myself back then, there's no way a client's going to pay me $100 a month to manage their website. So I started it at $50, and that was my recurring revenue. And I remember sitting back one day thinking, like, if I want to make $5,000 a month in recurring revenue, how many clients would I have to take on? Well, that's 100 clients, which is I was already struggling to get, like a certain amount. I'm thinking it's just not doable. And with DoubleStack, it just changed the whole game for me. Like just my way of thinking and also my whole business. So yeah, I went from struggling uh, to growing and succeeding. So.
How long were you stuck in kind of the struggling phase?
Oh, I'd say probably 3 years, 2, 3 years of just constant grind. Yeah. So, Yeah, it wasn't, there was no light at the end of the tunnel because I had, like I said, I had come up with different add-ons, but it was not the right. First of all, I was targeting everybody. I
Hmm.
was a jack of all trades, master. I would take on any client, and I was getting referrals from BNI and from different places, and like current clients of mine, former clients of mine. But it was like I was the website guy. So, or
Yeah.
I was the technology guy. Sometimes people would ask me for things that had nothing to do with my skill level. And so I was taking everybody on. And it wasn't until I started to niche down and I picked one thing and I created a solution first. That's the whole idea of the solution first agency. Without doing that, I would have never been able to get to the point I am today if I had kept going because there's not enough hours in the day. And
Hmm.
there's the way I was approaching clients was just not right. So
Do you still go to BNI groups?
no, not anymore. Um, I, I, I stopped that probably about 6 months ago. And the the thing with BNI, it's great for certain industries, but like with web design, digital marketing, they look at you as the tech guy because most
Hmm.
of them don't understand. So you're getting referrals that aren't really appropriate. So I thought it would be better for me to have a system of my own, and that way I don't have to rely on referrals. I mean, I take referrals, but referrals are like I look at it as the lazy man's marketing because you're putting the onus on your clients and
Hmm.
friends to get you business instead of you being in the driver's seat because you have no control over who gets referred to you. Where this way I can target specific people. So, yeah.
So if you were going to think of, it sounds like you've had a really radical shift from going to BNI groups, looking for referrals, working with everybody, to now focusing on one thing. Do you feel like you could sort of consolidate like one of the main points you took away from you and me working together through DoubleStack that kind of changed your thinking? Like you mentioned that you weren't thinking the same way before as you are now. Like what do you think
hmm
one of those major thinking shifts might be?
Um, one of them was how much to charge.
Mm,
That was a big hurdle that I had to get over, thinking that what I was offering wasn't worth what you were telling me to charge or what you had given me suggestions. And I thought, oh, I don't know if anybody's going to buy this. The same thing with the hosting. Like I didn't even charge $100 a month because I thought nobody's going to pay for that. So that was one hurdle that I got over. The other was coming up with a solution first,
mm,
where I don't have to reinvent the wheel every time I get on a client call. I think you mentioned this in one of either in the group or on one of the weekly calls that like when you go to a doctor, let's say you went to your gastroenterologist who deals with your stomach and you say, "Doc, my shoulder, I think I tore my rotator cuff." And the doctor says, "Well, let me come up with a bespoke solution for your shoulder and I'll work it out and then I'll get back to you." I mean, nobody would you go to an orthopedic doctor that specializes in this and they already have a solution. They have results out the wazoo. That was my problem. I was coming up with, I hate that word too, bespoke solution, because it tells me that you don't even know what you're doing. It means that you've never done this before. Where now, when I get on the call, it's I know exactly I know my solution, and all I'm doing at that point is I'm figuring out if they're a good fit for me. Not trying. I am selling my service, but I want to make sure that if I take this client on, that I'm going to get them the results like I've gotten from my other clients. So those two things, the pricing and the solution first, were the two major shifts I had with DoubleStack.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, pricing and leadership, man, those are huge things. And results. You
Mhm.
mentioned a lot about a focus on results. I think a lot of the trouble that web designers tend to have is a lack of feeling like they can take the leadership.
Mhm.
And most people don't really think too much about the results either. I think most web designers tend to think that the result they're after is for the client to feel happy. Like you
Mhm.
did the stuff that they said and they like the way that it looks, and
Mhm.
that's the result. And what we're doing is we're shifting that to I want the client to be happy because they're making more money now and they're getting more
Right.
clients and traffic and leads and client revenue, and like that's the
Right.
kind of happiness that I want. I don't want them to feel like the website is art that's on the wall that just
Right.
looks pretty. I
Right.
want them to feel like not only is it art that's on the wall that looks pretty, but that pretty art is driving revenue into my business.
Right. And I think it's the difference between, you said this before, outputs versus outcomes.
Right.
The old way of me doing it was the outputs. I'm going to build you a website. It's going to look great on mobile. It's going to be, nobody cares about all that stuff. A laundry list. What they want to know. I look at it like the scene in Jerry Maguire. Show me the money. Like
Yeah.
they want to know how you're going to make them more money. They don't really care. I mean, you could go onto any type of website builder and get a free template and it's going to look fine. But that's not going to move the needle. The reason they're talking to us is not for the website, it's for the whole solution. They've got problems that they want to get eliminated and they have goals they want to reach. And that's should be the focus of every digital marketer and web designer. So
Can you think of an example of a project that you worked on recently, or maybe you're working on now, where this has kind of all come to life, where you're like helping them get results, they're seeing some improvement? I know that we've looked at a bunch of stuff recently with like
mhm.
Google Business GeoGrids and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. So I have one client I'm working on down in Texas, and he started off, the business started in May or June of last year. And I started working with them, I think in November of 2023. And I implemented my solution, and it's pretty amazing because I run these geo grids that show their Google Business Profile. Like it's basically little circles over top of the map of their service area, and the circles could be red, yellow, or green. And red means that they're way down in the maps. So if somebody searches for, a service near me, they're not going to be in the map pack. They're not going to be when they click more businesses. It's not even going to be on that first page. It's going to be on the second or third page, which means they're invisible.
Mm.
So they started off basically all red, and it was a new business. So I don't think that's a problem because that's typically what happens with a new business. So I started working with them, and within 6 weeks, we started to see a whole bunch of green. They were landing in that map pack consistently in this one smaller area. Then we started to expand the area. I started to add more strategies, and now they're in a position now where they are dominating that one area. And now we've gotten to the point where we've kind of stretched to our limit with Google Business Profile because in that one area, because it's all based on geolocation. So
Mm.
the other areas they're trying to focus on now, they're too far away. So what we did now is we set up a separate, it's called multi-location, a separate GMB, same business name, but different location. And now we're doing the same thing over again. So now it's going to be interesting to see in the next month or two that's going to start. It's red right now, but it's going to start to turn yellow, and then it's going to start to turn green. So that's been but I've had that on for multiple clients where I've seen, see, once you come up with a solution, then it's easier to sell because and easier to talk about. It's also easier to market. And now I've got all this data that I can show people. I don't have to tell them or get them to try to trust me. I can show them, look, here's the results of what I'm doing. Would you like me to do this for you? It's such an easy sell. But yeah, that was a dramatic change. What I've shared in DoubleStack, a couple of those geogrids. I mean, sometimes in a matter of weeks, which is pretty unheard of for Google because it usually takes a lot longer to see results. But yeah.
Yeah, even what you just said. So anyone who might be watching this later on, you started working with this client in November. It's March now, so you're looking like 4 months down the road, which is
Hmm.
really usually I don't tell people that are just doing like traditional SEO to expect results for at least 6 months. And
Hmm.
here we are, 4 months, and you're already moving on to the next phase of the project, which is awesome.
Yeah. And I
How do you
actually
feel
we
like? Oh, go
yeah, I
ahead.
was going to say we saw results in 6 weeks. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't totally green, but we saw they were really starting to move up just in 6 weeks. But again, it's because I took the time to come up with a solution and then I tested the solution. I wasn't like willy-nilly, like, oh, let me learn this software and this, and let me try this. Oh, that didn't work. Let me try something else. I really tried to focus in, and my niche is home services. And so now when I talk to somebody in home services, I know exactly what I need to do. It's just whether or not they are willing to pay the money to get there. But most of them
Sure.
are. Yeah.
And the cool thing is you have multiple levels. It's not like you have to spend
Hmm.
$1 million on day one. You can kind of
Right.
walk them up your value ladder because you've got a
Yeah.
multiple tiers to your offer, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I got so excited about that I lost my train of thought for what I was going to ask you next. Um, so you picked home services as the niche, and before that, do you feel like the relationship that you've had with your clients is different now from the way it was before? Because it seems like now you're showing up and you're kind of bringing more leadership. You're showing them the results that you've got. You're telling them like I've done this before with other types of businesses. Look at the data, look at the results, and it seems to me that you're acting sort of like a business doctor. Like you mentioned the
Hmm.
shoulder doctor a minute ago.
Yes.
That it seems like when people are coming to you, that the relationship would be different because prior to this, and I think a lot of web design, especially when they're getting started, they're not the doctor, they're the implementer. They're sort of like the artist that does you tell me
Hmm.
what you want to paint and I'll make the picture kind of a thing. And it seems like and in that context, the leader is the client because they're the ones saying,
Right.
I want you to do these things, which is
Hmm.
crazy to me that especially today that we're in that spot. Because have you ever asked your client, like, hey, who hosts your website? Or where's your domain name registered or
Hmm.
anything like they don't know anything about that stuff. And it
Hmm.
seems crazy that we would think that they would know how to do the right thing for the marketing. And I'm just wondering, have you noticed a difference in the type of the relationship or like how your clients interact with you or the kind of the nature of your client relationships now that you have solution first leadership, data and results?
Yes, for sure. I think, well, now I'm getting referrals from home service businesses that they
Mm,
all know each other. You know, the plumber and the electrician and the contractor all work together because they refer each other jobs. So when the plumber, in this instance, has results, then he tells the other people, and then I get calls. And now it's definitely a leadership position for me because they know that I know what I'm doing. And they know because it's a referral, but it's also like I'm getting results. That plumber would have never told them if I wasn't getting results, and they want the same thing. So they're willing to like trust my judgment and what I mean, obviously they get to pick because I have like three different options as far as the pricing is concerned. So depending on, I always tell them, how quickly do you want to get to your goal? If you want to get there fast, then we go with the highest option. If not, if we want to go a little slower, go to the middle. But it becomes a like the call isn't really, they're already sold because again, like when you go to a doctor, you go to an orthopedist for your shoulder and you tell them, "Hey doc, I need you to prescribe me this medication. I want you to do this surgery on this day." You don't do that. You go to the doctor, they analyze your issue, and then they have a solution. It's the same idea. I think it's just a shift. You know, I think a lot of web designers have a problem because other clients that they're getting on the phone with have had the same experience multiple times with different digital marketing and web designers where it's like a la carte. So they
mm,
assume everybody is like that. And, you know, it takes a little bit of time when I first started and I niched down. I had to kind of set the tone of the call and
mm.
do a little bit more explaining. But now, when I get clients to come in, they already know that I have a solution and they want it. So it's just a matter of how much do they want to spend, and how quickly can we get going. That it just makes it so much easier to get on calls. I actually enjoy the client calls now. Before I dreaded them.
Yeah, we even did some role plays together where we like
Hmm.
practice calling each other and like I sell a website to you or you sell one to me. Did you feel
Yeah.
helpful?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it was good. I liked being the one in the role play initially as the client and the person selling, but then I like to watch because you've done it multiple times, just the observer and just watch the interaction between the two because then
Mm,
I because we record every weekly call, so I would go back and rewatch those videos and start taking some notes, and then and then all of a sudden it started to click. Like it's not as hard as you think it is. It seems like it should be harder, but it's not. It's just the matter of you're having a conversation. You know what I mean? You have to listen 80% of the time and talk 20% of the time. Where before I was doing most of the talking and selling, and it's an overload for that client and then they don't feel like you're really tuned into them. So yeah, the role plays definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that one of the breakthrough moments is just having something to sell. Like if you
Hmm.
show up to a call and you don't really even know what the client does, like you're talking about referrals a minute ago, especially even like BNI referrals, just where you're known as like the web design guy or something.
Hmm.
The quality of the referrals is all over the place. It's not only the quality, but the topics. You know, like what
Hmm.
genres, what industries are people in? It's like everything. And
Hmm.
so even when you do get a referral, it's usually for like a low budget. Can you just do some small thing? I'm going to shop
Hmm.
around and see if you're the best price kind of a thing.
Hmm.
Whereas now that you have a niche, you have an audience, you have results, you have case studies,
Hmm.
the referrals you get are on point.
Yes.
People want access to the solution that you have
Hmm.
rather than just some random web design guy that might be able to build a website. And
Right.
that is such, it can create a completely different environment for you to work in. Like it cuts out a ton of competition because you're the one with your solution, whereas there's a
Hmm.
million generic web designers. So I think that's a huge thing. But let me ask you this. So you've tripled your business now. That's a
Hmm.
really big difference. You know,
Hmm.
you're significantly over, you're almost about to get to $200,000 a year.
Hmm.
Where do you see your business going over the next few years? Like, what do you feel like the future looks like?
Well, it's interesting you say this because one of my clients, he owns multiple businesses. They're all like seven-figure businesses, and he owns like a an incubator as well. So he helps, like he likes to find younger people right out of college and get them like he'll start the business and finance it, and then he'll make them the one that's running the day to day.
Hmm.
And so we had a conversation, and what he wants to do is set up a partnership because he's seen the results. And he said, what if we came together and I was the face of it, but I didn't do any of the work. You did all of your system and I just flooded you with clients. So I'm in the process now of getting a team together because I'm not going to be able to do that by myself. So I'm going to have an assistant, and I'm probably going to have to bring on another web designer. I'm going to do I'm going to do most of the technical parts of my system because I don't necessarily want to share that with another person like a
Hmm.
freelancer. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at a potential $50 to $80,000 a month. Yeah, which is if you had told me before DoubleStack that there was any chance that I would ever come close to making that, maybe in a year, not in a month. So things have changed. And the only reason this happened was because I was in DoubleStack and I came up with a solution first. Because when I reached out to that client, he didn't know me. I basically did a Loom video. I shared my system that I said, listen, I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I know you just started this new business, and it was in home services. And I said, here's what's working for my clients. I just wanted to share this with you. And he was so appreciative. He brought me on and said, well, can you do this for us? And but none of that would have happened. I would have never had the guts to reach out because I wasn't confident in my not in my skills, but in my I didn't have a system. It was like a bespoke solution. So yeah, I mean that it's totally changed. So I mean we haven't signed anything but he's definitely interested, and I mean he's always starting businesses. So, and the fact that this business wouldn't require really any effort on his part except for getting the clients, and he's got a massive following on social media. So um he's gonna and all of his followers are business owners. Like he's got a very tight group of followers that are all interested in this type of stuff. So it's going to be very easy for him to bring clients my way. So now I'm in the position now of I need to be able to scale this, and which is a little scary. So when we start, I'm going to say we got to limit this to maybe 5 clients a month initially, and then we can grow up, go a little bit more. And I think he wants to get to like 10 clients a month. Imagine onboarding and creating a system for 10 separate clients per. I mean, that's a lot of work,
That
but
is.
I'm down for it. I mean, I'm ready to hit the ground running. I'm in the process now of setting up a system to be able to handle that volume. But yeah, It's crazy.
That's awesome, man. That is so you've already more than tripled your business and you're on track to make more in 1 month than you used to make in 1 year.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I
I
know.
am so excited about that.
I know. It's crazy. Sometimes I wake up and I pinch myself because I'm like, this can't be real. But yeah,
That's
it's
great.
crazy.
It's so funny too. One of the things that's been kind of an eye-opening, shocking thing for me is like we'll post videos and stuff like this, or people will read reviews about double stack places, and they'll be like, "These are fake. These aren't real."
Right.
No, nobody does this.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons I'm really excited you wanted to jump on a video and talk to me about all this stuff because this is
Yeah.
real. People are really doing this. It's awesome.
Yeah. 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 And that was the funny thing. Like when I found your first YouTube video, I don't even remember. I have to look back to see if I can see which one it was that got me into the Lee Blue ecosystem. But I'm always skeptical of people on YouTube, especially web designers, digital marketers, because it's usually they're selling a course that's outdated or they don't make money doing what they're teaching. They're just,
Hmm.
and I knew within a minute of watching that video that you were legit and that what you were saying, you had experience with it. And I think that's a huge thing. Like, that's what made me choose DoubleStack versus some of these other programs that are out there because not only did I connect with your message, you knew exactly what was going on in my business, but also I knew that you knew what you were talking about because you weren't reading it from a script. This was from experience. And I think that translates into our business too, because as double stackers, then we get really accustomed to the solution first agency and we're playing off of other double stackers. I'm always posting in double stack Loom videos and hey, I just found this new trick that cuts a whole bunch of time off of this build or this strategy, and we share with each other, and then that gives us confidence. So when we get on a call, it becomes because you're playing off of other people that have been where you're going. So and I'm always happy to give advice because that's what got me where I am. So.
Yeah, we haven't even had much of a chance to even talk much about the community side of DoubleStack and hanging out in the water cooler and everything and
Mhm.
sharing tips. And it just, I feel like it's such a groundbreaking, just exponential change. And like, I remember when I first joined a group and everything, that just not being alone was
Mhm.
such a huge thing to just have
Mhm.
somebody to say, hey, this is what I think I'm doing. Am I on the right track? Or can
Mhm.
somebody help me with this? Or I remember Holly had a problem with setting up a Google business profile and she couldn't get the website link to change
Mhm.
she told me like if it hadn't been for her being in DoubleStack, she would have been freaking out. She'd be like,
Mhm.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get help with this. But she said,
Mhm.
well, let me just go back and I'm going to get my team to look at this real quick. And
Mhm.
I think that's just such a great mindset to say, I have my team. It's like
Mhm.
you, it's me, the other double stackers hanging out in the community.
Mhm.
And what would you do if you didn't have that? Like, where would you
Right.
go for help for stuff like that? And then on top of
Yeah.
that, the other thing that I think is huge about the team aspect of it is it's almost even unfair for us because we're iterating over so many different people's web design businesses all at the same time. Where if you were by yourself, you're just doing one thing at a time by yourself in a
Mhm.
little bubble. So,
Right.
like, how are you supposed to make progress anywhere near the rate of if you're working together with like 20 other people?
Right. Right. And I love both of those things. Number one, that you have like a mastermind group that you can bounce ideas off of, but also that you are not lying when you tell a client, let me have my team take a look at this and let's see if we can come up with a solution to fix this issue. Because I want to make sure that we do it right. And you're not
Mm,
lying because then you're going to go to DoubleStack, you're going to go into the water cooler, you're going to post something, maybe put a little Loom video in there, and then you're going to get 5, 6, 7 responses uh, that are going to help you solve it like that versus trying to search through YouTube and on Google and you don't know if it's going to be the right solution. You know what I mean? So
mm,
yeah, it's a very powerful thing to have a community because there is nowhere else really to go where you have like-minded people that are all on the same page. That's
mm.
the thing. Like we're all doing the same solution first agency. So it's not like you're in a Facebook group that has all different types of strategies and we're focused on one, at least one main strategy, which is solution first. So
And everybody's really talented and good. There's nobody that's like
Mhm.
a beginner. In fact, I won't even let
No.
you into the program if you're a beginner, like there's
Right.
certain requirements that you have to meet in order to get in.
Hmm.
But now we've got this, it's such an unbelievably nice group of people that are just
Hmm.
so giving and they care about you. There's no competition. Like everybody understands there's infinity clients.
Sure.
There's so many clients that there's no way any one of us could possibly handle all of the clients. It's ridiculous. Even in
No.
your own local area, you can't handle all of the clients.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, even if everybody in DoubleStack was focusing on the exact same niche, and even maybe niching down even further to, let's say, like for me, it's home services, but let's say it's just plumbers. Do you
Hmm.
know how many plumbers there are in the United States? Even if
Yeah.
we all were focused on that with our solution first agency, we'd have plenty of clients. That's why I share everything in the water cooler, because I'm not worried that I don't look at anybody in DoubleStack as a competitor. I look at them as we're all cooperating, and there's so many clients and very few people are doing this type of method that there's really no competition out in the real world for us.
And the clients are so valuable. Like I like it when people are landing at least $10,000 clients. I know you just landed a $15,000 client.
Hmm.
This is the double stack five-figure family trophy thing. So like
Hmm.
how many clients do you need paying you $10,000 a year before
Hmm.
you feel happy with your income? What if you had 10?
Hmm.
That's 100 grand with 10 clients. What if you had
Hmm.
20? What if you landed two clients a month? It's like
Hmm.
240,000. Were you happy with a quarter million?
Hmm. Right.
Is that decent? You know,
Right.
with 20 clients, that's two clients a month. Can you do that? It's
Right.
not, it's not like it used to be. It used to be in order to
Mm-mm.
get even just to $100,000, you had to land like 5 or 6 clients a month. That's
Hmm.
more than one a week. You'd have to
Hmm.
have multiple clients landed, built, deployed, build, like
Hmm.
charged for, invoiced or whatever. And
Hmm.
multiple of those in one week. And then
Hmm.
how do you manage that? It's just such a frustrating thing. I used to
Hmm.
be in that. I used to be in that situation where I used to like 20 years ago when I first started. And I think
Hmm.
that's one of the big things. I think I have tried to sell websites in every possible way there is to sell websites.
Hmm.
And then I landed on this solution first agency idea and really combining the double stack concept of the tech stack and the marketing stack, put
Hmm.
those two things together. So, well, let's wrap this thing up. Give me one tip that you would give other web designers that might be thinking about double stack or might be where you were when you were struggling, for the couple of years before you joined. What do you think would be like one kind of parting tip or piece of advice that you might want to leave for people?
I would say, if not now, when?
Hmm.
If I didn't join DoubleStack last year, and it didn't take me a year to see results, by the way. I'm sticking in there because it's so valuable community that why would I leave? You know, but I would say I'm a procrastinator, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that might watch this that procrastinate too. I'll get to this, maybe I'll look at it in another month, and then you're on to something else and you're distracted. I would say if you are serious about growing your business and actually having uh, a six-figure income and also having recurring income, so you're not constantly chasing clients, you can cap it at 10 or 15 or whatever, and you could sit back and never have to get on a discovery call again. I would say it's an easy choice. And yes, it's an investment, but you will make that investment back like that.
That was awesome. Okay, so if you want to see the 15-minute video workshop where I go into all the details on the authority framework, which is the system that Dave and I were using to make all these transformations in his business, just go over to doublestack.net/authority framework. It's totally free. It's a 15-minute video workshop, and you can even sign up for the first module of DoubleStack for free. I'll just email it to you. But let me ask you this. Do you ever feel really busy, like you're just constantly doing stuff, but somehow you're not really making that much money? Like endless tasks, empty pockets? I used to feel like that. Check out this video right here and I'll show you what I did to overcome it.